history where I could stand and say, arithmetic begins here, now.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hope we're all doing well. Kira Cat Lady says Rainbow Road is my favourite. Yeah, I love that track so much. It's so feel good. So feel good. I hope you're all doing well. It is Wednesday, November 20th, 2024, which means we've only got one more Myles Dyer live. And then we're heading into the final month of 2024. Where has this year gone? Massive thanks to Cali Timecat for saying, don't forget or forget to like the hit button. Love it all. I hope you are all well. I am a bit flustered. It has been a bit of a whirlwind of a few days, so I'm a bit all over the place. But I did, when I was doing a big food shop, I did actually get some new wine glasses, and these are wonderful. I was in the shops, and as you do in this day and age, I saw a box of 6 red wine glasses for it's like £6, £7, and I thought, I'll just check Amazon just to see what they are, and they were asking like £30-40. I mean, maybe they were top tier, but these are nice. Really good. So I'm in my comfort zone at the moment. Anyway, before we crack on with the show, today we're going to be talking about origin stories, and it is just because on Friday I thought, no, do you know what actually happened? Last week, I had a clip from the TV show Lost come up on YouTube, and I watched it, and I was like, Lost was so good. It was like my favourite show, one of my all-time favourite shows, if not the best TV show I've ever seen. 20 years ago it started, although I came to it during season 2. Not that I started on season 2, but I got back from working in France for 6 months, and while I was in France, everyone was like swapping DVDs of, like, you had the first half box set and then you bought the second half box set, and everyone was talking about it at the table, and the conversations always sounded wild, and it was one of those things I was only able to make sense of in retrospect, having seen the show. And then I got home and my brother said to me, you've got to watch Lost, season 2's just come out, it's amazing. So I watched season 1, and then I watched season 2 in a weekend. I think I was unwell, so I just watched it from bed, and I was blown away by it, and watched it till the end, all the way up until the final episode, where I had a bunch of friends come over, and we watched it as soon as it was uploaded online, streaming from America. And I actually created, there's something called the Dharma Initiative in the lore of Lost, and they have like a logo and stuff like that, and they do supply drops with their branding on it. And so all the drinks and beer cans I had, I had these print-offs of the Dharma Initiative logo. So I created like fake Dharma Initiative supply drops that we were drinking from during the live show, and the last episode, which I think ended up going online about 5 a.m. It was pretty wild, but it was a cool party. So it was a pretty special thing. And I think season 6 finale was in May 2010, and I was looking earlier for the photo of us all with the Dharma Initiative stuff, but didn't manage to find it. So anyway, it's a show that I love, and if you've never seen Lost, this we're not going to go into any details on it on this. All I would say is it's currently on Disney Plus. It's worth a Disney Plus subscription if that's all you're going to watch. Check out Lost. Please, please, please. It is so, so good. 6 seasons. And so I kept being served all these video clips on YouTube. And I was like, maybe I should start watching it again. I've already watched this first season twice because I watched it one weekend with a close friend of mine who'd never seen it before. And so on Friday night or Saturday, started watching Lost. Had it on my phone in the corner while I was playing Stardew Valley on my PlayStation 5 Pro, which is not what it was built for. And yeah, literally just before this show went live, before I went on live streaming, I was having my dinner and I was watching the final episode of season 1. So I think it's episode 26. So yeah, and they're like 40 to 50 minutes each. So I have been going through so much of it and I'm obsessed all over again. I'm going to watch all 6 seasons. It's so, so good. Very, very special story. So yeah, I'm just going to say straight off the bat, if you've never seen Lost, definitely go check it out. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. It's a wonderful show. I geeked out so much on it looking at, what was it called? Lostpedia, where people theorized about the different mysteries. And for those that don't know what it's about, it's Oceanic Flight 815 crashes on an island and there are survivors and they got to try and survive together, and it's about the relationships they have and the island they inhabit, and it really is the character stories that make it so captivating. And watching it again, there have been definitely a lot of moments that have made me well up. So good, so good. So yeah, a lot of you saying don't think I've seen Lost before. You would know if you've seen it before. You definitely would know. So that is what the thumbnail is of this video, but I'll get to why that is in a moment. But before I do that, I just want to say, do hit the like button if you haven't already, and not just a massive hello to everyone in the live chat, but a massive hello to everyone who is watching on replay. Have any of you watched Lost? What do you think of Lost? Do let us know. So I'm just going to start off by just saying hello to a few people in the chat. We got Mojo here. We got Kira Cat Lady. Hello. Ciago Guitarist, good to see you here. Karina, who was also saying, oh my God, I love this topic about origin stories. David VR, hello to you. We've got BR. Brr. Cali Time Cat. We got Doc Curry 42, the game cat. And do you know 42 is one of the numbers in Lost? So that is eerie. Who else we got here? Ali Imbe, who says it sounds like a track from Astro, but are you talking about the first one? Yeah. Dominic Maguire, good to see you here. Melkaya, the Soul Reaving Game Cat, hello. Who else we got? We got Random Toxie, hello to you. Canic Tunes, welcome. And to everyone else. Agramonia, I'm just whizzing past now. Q Creator, thank you everyone. That Dank Cheese, who actually said, I've been rewatching Lost with my girlfriend lately. I've seen it through a few times, but she never seen it. Great show. And isn't it so good to watch again? But yeah, David says 42. I remember that. Just a quick bit of housekeeping. If you do like the music at the start and want to know it, it's called Rainbow Road and it's on the Myles Dyer Live music playlist. So go check it out on Spotify. And also join Empathy Arcade Discord. Lots of wonderful people you see in the chat here are there. Come hang out. Link is in the description of this live stream. Also, if you want to become a member, support the channel for a little few dollars a month. And I do have the merch store, questforempathy.com. I'm going to see if I can get something sorted in the next week. We should, at the very least, I need to have a Black Friday sale. Yeah? Do we agree? Do I need to have a nice big discount on that? I think I should. And also, I'm going to be live streaming PSVR 2 games, hopefully later this week. Definitely next week, because it's just been announced that Trombone Champ Unflattened are the company I work for, Flat to VR Studios. It's their first ever game coming to PSVR 2. And many of you will remember me playing Trombone Champ on this very show about a year, maybe a bit over a year ago. And I was like, if only this came to VR. Well, it is coming to VR now. And it's wild to be a part of the company that's making it happen. So, yeah, that will be happening. And it will be super, super amusing. So, once I get a PlayStation key, I can book something in the diary, and we'll be doing a live stream of that. So that should be really, really good. And also in the background is we have a puzzle. We have a puzzle. I haven't posted the link in the chat, have I? I haven't yet. Here we go. This week's puzzle. Just go to bit.ly/MDL, all capitals, 169, all capitals puzzle. And it is a 252 piece. And so what you do is I always talk about this, you just press a bit, click another place, and it moves it. Oh, I can't do it because it's probably asking me to... It always does this. I don't know actually why it's not letting me. Let's have a look here. There we go, it's moving it now. And it is the thumbnail of this video. So just move it along. If it flashes green, it means it's in the right place. If it's red, it means it is in the wrong place. So give it a go. Oh, this is the corner piece. See, it went green. And if I move it up, it'll flash red, meaning it was in the right place and you've moved it into a wrong place. So check that out. See if you can get it completed by the end of the show. But for those that were wondering, what on earth is this thumbnail for this live stream? Well, this is the opening shot from the TV show Lost, where Jack opens his eye and he finds himself on an island. On an island. Now, what has this got to do with origin stories? Well, for me, one of the things I absolutely love about Lost are the characters and the character building. You have a lot of conflict. You have a lot of people that are falling out with each other, and people with very questionable motives or actions, at least. And at least in the first season, I don't know if they start spreading them out a bit far apart, but definitely in the first season, they have flashbacks. So every episode will start with a close-up of one of the characters' eyes. And then throughout the episode, as you're seeing stuff take place on the island, it cuts back to a certain moment in their life when a chain of events happen, which ties in with what's happening on the island during that episode. And it's just really beautiful because there'll be characters that perhaps are doing things you really don't like and despise. And then when you see their flashback, you realise, okay, I can see how they got to that place. Might not always be a good thing, but it's a real empathy building exercise, and it's about contextualizing people and how people ended up the way that they do. So, yeah. Is that an I land? Very good. Very, very, very good. So, yeah. That is what Lost is. And so, to be honest, on today's episode, I just wanted to talk about Lost. And I was actually going to do a much more broader subject, which was, what is your all-time favourite TV show? But I thought, I don't want to do a full episode on that. Maybe another time. Although I will say in the chat right now, people, what is your favourite TV show of all time? Just type it in the chat. I'm just curious to see this. And then I wanted to broaden it out. And so the flashbacks, I could have called this like, what would your Lost flashback be? But origin stories is something we can all relate to. And so I was just trying to have a think about, like, if I was on Lost, if you were on Lost, and you're on this island, and Ciago says, just one. I know it's very difficult. Just name one. Arcane, not seen. I hear it's amazing. Breaking Bad, I've actually never seen. I have never seen Breaking Bad, and I hear it's still amazing to watch now. Better Call Saul. Isn't that connected to Breaking Bad? Or am I thinking of something else? I'm thinking of a different show. I don't have just one favourite. Okay, well, name a few. Star Trek, the original 1960s series. I grew up watching Star Trek with my dad. Was it called First Generation? Was it First Generation that had Jean-Luc Picard? Yeah. Oh no, sorry. The Next Generation. The Next Generation. Yeah, I grew up watching that, and then I think the first movie I ever went to see in the theater, where it was a 12 rating, was First Contact. That's what I'm thinking of. The first Star Trek First Contact with the Borg. Yeah. I don't watch much telly, so very difficult, but we'll have as think. I don't watch a lot of TV either, but Lost is very, very special. Xenomorph says, Blackadder. Blackadder is amazing. So, so good. The Passage, not seen The Passage. The Alienist, not seen him. Lucifer I have seen. Yeah. Anything by Ricky Gervais, and I'm sold. I have actually not seen Afterlife. I hear it's amazing, and that's a Netflix series, isn't it? People saying about that show being connected to Breaking Bad. Yeah. Better Call Saul is a spin-off. Yeah. The Good Place. Fringe. Okay, so I've only seen like the first half of episode 1 of Fringe, and I hear it's amazing. Siage says, actually genuinely struggling to think of just one show. Just one. Humans. Yeah, Humans was meant to be good. Stranger Things. I've actually only watched a bit of the first episode and I wasn't in the mood for it. I want to go back to it for sure. Yeah, The Prisoner. What about Prison Break? Prison Break did just go on, and I think the creators even said on a panel they were going to keep making it until they weren't paid anymore. Whereas the beauty of Lost is Lost, the creators, there's 6 seasons. They got to see the end of season 2 and they wanted to have a off-ramp. Because if they know what the story is they want to tell and how they want it to end, but you don't know how many seasons you've got to tell the story, you end up sort of just being in this middle ground where you're sort of you don't know how long you're going to have to extend the runway for. So I was listening to a podcast the other day with Damon Lindelof and Carlton Hughes who'd worked on it. And my understanding, and I might have misremembered this, was because ABC, part of Disney, owned it. You know, if a show is doing amazing, it was the biggest show on TV at the time, you're not going to be able to stop it. So they got to the end of season 2, and I think what they were then got to an agreement on was, okay, we'll sign on for another year, another season, and then our contract ends. And so they did that. And season 3, there was also, I think, a writer's strike or an actor's strike during the time. And season 3 does feel like they're treading water, and it was for that very reason. And then by the end of season 3, they negotiated, and I think they said, "Yeah, we'll tell you when you can end the season after 10 seasons." And they were like, "Well, that's practically saying it's never going to end because what series gets to 10 seasons?" So they negotiated, and they were told, "Okay, you can end it after season 6." And so by the time season 3 was done, they knew they had 3 seasons left to tell the remaining story, and they knocked out the park, in my opinion. It was amazing. Baby Reindeer is incredible. Blew my mind as well. And funny enough, was one of the few factors that inspired my origin story, which I think comes to mind of how I am. I mean, it's. I'm thinking of it in terms of flashbacks, because the flashbacks are always about like really bad stuff that happens to people that shapes them. But yeah, Mr. Robot is maybe amazing. Sherlock, yep. Great list there. Great list. And by the way, I forgot I had all this background music, didn't I? Let's get it. Oh, and actually, I should probably have my headphones on, because otherwise you're going to hear it, because I've got it coming out my speakers. There we go. Much better. And I think I brought it down to like 20 last time. Yeah, I'm not going to read anything about Lost in the chat just because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. Oh, the It crowd. Squid Game. Yeah, Squid Game I've never seen. And The Witcher. Yeah. The Witcher I hadn't seen. I actually started watching the Fallout TV show. I hear it was good. I've watched like one episode. And funnily enough, there's an actor in Fallout who was in Lost. Michael Emerson. Great actor. Who was also Zep in the original Saw movie. Man. I love all these classics. Only Fools and Horses. Not the 9 o'clock news. One Foot in the Grave. One Foot in the Grave I loved as a kid. 40 Towers, The Good Life. Yeah. All good stuff. So, yeah, as I mentioned, so in Lost, they will focus on a character. They'll have their eye up close. And then it will have a flashback to a moment in their life where, more often than not, do you know what? I'm going to actually look on Lostpedia how they... Flashbacks, Lostpedia. Flashbacks are a major part of how Lost tells its story. They are one of the major components that makes it such a unique and distinctive television program compared to other TV shows. Each main character has been featured in one or multiple flashbacks that portray what happened in their life before being stranded on the island. And the flashbacks have some thematic or narrative parallels with the events on the island. That's cool. Yeah, I didn't want to show it on screen just because I didn't want to have any spoilers for it. But yeah. And so for me, it was a question of like, if you were on the island in Lost and you were to have a flashback to a moment in your life. I mean, sometimes I talk about eureka moments, but eureka moments are more about those moments in life where like things all clicked for you and you felt like you finally understood. Whereas in this case, the origin story, I mean, we think of like Batman when his parents were murdered in an alley. Oh, sorry, spoilers. Or Uncle Ben with Spider-Man. Those are quite shaping. I mean, and also the origin story actually is, Peter Parker getting bitten by a spider. Again, spoilers. Sorry, guys. So I'm just curious to know, does anyone have an idea of what their origin story would be? Because for me, it would be what I told, 19 episodes ago, which was about a really horrific moment I had in my life because it stayed with me for a good 10 years. And I definitely think it was a moment in my life that shaped who I was in terms of how I have compassion for others. And also I've been able to endure a lot of mental strain. And also like have trust issues that I've obviously been able to overcome and stuff like this. Karina says, how do I summarize this on a YouTube chat? I know, it's quite a difficult one, isn't it? You could just do a couple of bullet points. Like, I guess it's, what's the location? What's the location? When did it happen? So it's like where, when, and what. Where did it happen? When did it happen? And what happened? I think that'd be the way of doing it. And hey, BMF, good to see you here. And obviously, you don't need to share it with the chat. This can be just something to reflect on. Siago says, I've had a few really big crossroads that I can pinpoint as hugely important to my trajectory as a human being. Sorry, what's a human being? I have never heard that term before. I'm looking it up now. Okay, how have I never heard of this? I'm looking it up. Oh, you made a human being. Oh no, it is. Oh, okay, it's got human being. Okay, I understand now. Well, it reminds me of The Room with Tommy Wiseau because he says we're all human beings. I understand now. I just thought it was like some Yeah, why is this a whole thing I didn't know about? Well, there you go. You've now seen it. The human being. And it is in Urban Dictionary. She's not an alien, she's a human being. Wow. Wild. We've learned something today, haven't we? There you go. There you go. We ain't getting any younger. We certainly aren't. We certainly aren't. Discovery of baked bean ice cream was quite a turning point. But would that be your origin story? This might end up being a terrible topic for an episode. If people aren't able to distill it as a comment, which I appreciate. Canuck says, my origin story, I'm a shadow. God, this feels like the start of that Choose Your Own Ending episode we did a few weeks ago. My childhood home was swallowed up by the sea. What? My elementary school was mowed over. And the village where I grew up just merged with another community. I want you to go into that in a bit more detail, please, Canuck, if you can. Your childhood home was swallowed up by the sea. That's wild. Karina says, first thing that comes to mind, moving to the UK with £20 in my pocket and getting to where I am right now, by myself, through more downs than ups, some character building stuff. It blows my mind hearing stories about people that, you know, move to a different country with like so little in their pocket. Like, it's wild. It requires a lot of courage and willpower and tenacity. So I have huge respect for that. And definitely if you looked back, like if you've moved to where you're living now, that's amazing. Karina says, when I was a teenager, wild, absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. Delta says, think for me was breakdown of my marriage. After that, things picked up a few years later. Yeah, after relationships, it can always take a bit of time. Like during it, it can be difficult. And Lost has a lot of flashbacks around relationships and stuff like that. Really interesting. Siago says, first time hearing AC/DC. I was classically trained on piano up to that age, exclusively listening to classical music. When the solo kicked in, it rooted me to the floor. I couldn't move. Dude, I remember where I was when I first got into metal music. I literally can remember where I was sat and what I was looking at. I was looking at the TV. My parents had just got Sky Television, which is like cable in the UK, for my American friends wondering. And we had Kerrang TV. We had Kerrang TV and Fear Factory were on it, talking about their new album. And I was hearing this song with this amazing sung chorus and this really heavy screamed verse, and it just blew my mind. And that was sort of like how I got into it. Yeah. Knew then at 14 I wanted to play guitar. Drastically changed my life interests. So that's it. It's all about the trajectory, right? TV shows, people are still talking about Are You Afraid of the Dark? I actually never saw Are You Afraid of the Dark, but Goosebumps, definitely. That was the first time I think that I saw TV shows of books that I read, which is pretty exciting. Man, Goosebumps had the best front covers. What was the Mask book? Was it just called The Haunted Mask? Oh my god, they've actually made the mask. Yeah, oh dude, I literally, seeing this book cover, I literally remember the smell of the book. It's that visceral. because the books were bumpy. There we go. Yeah, the books were bumpy. Reader beware, you're in for a scare. Man. Wow, what a trip down memory lane there. The Moomins. The Moomins are awesome. And stupidity, Karina says. Nah. Canuck says, yeah, my childhood home was practically on the beach that's now gone. I can't even stand where my bedroom was because it's underwater now. But this might be a stupid question. Did it disappear after you moved out? Or was it like literally at the door and you were like, we have to leave. We can't live here anymore. Siago says, also, my dad prevented me from taking the 11 plus to go to Bishop Secondary School, which also drastically diminished my interest in academia. Went from the top of the class to detentions overnight. Oh, wow. Wow. Hello, DJ Jennison. Hope you are doing good. Let's have a look. I'm into Dex. Love music. Remember MTV? I remember. Lumberjack says his was being drawn to go to Oz, and that's where you met your wife. Did you not know of your wife before you went there? And what encouraged you to go to Oz? Really curious about that. Really, really curious. Callie says, a lot of my origin story revolves around my transition. It was pretty heavy stuff, like for many people who do this, and coincidentally today it's Trans Day of Remembrance. I did not know that. Well, happy Trans Day of Remembrance, everyone. Funnily enough, one of the things I had set for myself at work today was doing my what's it called? Like awareness days calendar, because it's a good thing if you're working social media knowing what the awareness days are, and I just didn't get a chance to do it. Ah, okay. So it's about remembering trans people who have been murdered. Well, it's good to have a day like that of solidarity, for sure. We still got a way to go. Does anyone still remember the Demon Headmaster? I did. The Demon Principal, as it would be called in the US, probably. Man, this show was wild. It was actually scary. It was really scary. And that was based on a book, wasn't it? Here we go, Demon Headmaster. He hypnotised. That's the thing I'm surprised they haven't rebooted. They haven't rebooted yet. I was wondering if he passed away. He passed away 2 years ago, a year ago. Terence Hardiman, 86. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, the intro. The intro was super creepy. Wild, wild, wild. Thanks everyone for sharing their stories. This is awesome. Canuck says regarding the home, I lived there for 2 decades, and when my family left, it was levelled. But then several storms ate up the coastline. It's been reinforced. Gotcha. Karina says, I think watching my family going homeless at one point was very defining. Stays with you forever. Yeah, I think any sort of, home and family is like, as a kid, that represents safety. And so to experience that and then to have your family go through those struggles, there can be a lot of trauma induced with that, for sure. That's tough. Ali Imbe says, I'm not sure I have an origin story since I've kind of not found my path yet. And that's totally cool. And I'm already 43, but I was raised by my mum and grandfather since my dad was arrested when I was 2. Wow. God, that's wild. I feel incredibly fortunate. I've had I don't know, it's one of those things, like when you look back in life, I can see like imperfections in terms of parents and that. You kind of learn things on reflection. But I've been incredibly fortunate in terms of health, well-being. Actually, speaking of health, people, you remember the story last week I told you about losing feeling in my arm from donating blood and then missing the vein? It's not fully back yet. Annoying indeed. Nashi says, I remember going to more and more places alone, particularly a rough estate first, later third world slums, jungles. Wow, what? That's such a path. Yeah, Chaos says, what's the topic of the stories? Yeah, to anyone that's just joining, I started the show talking about Lost, the TV show. I've started watching it again. It's one of my all-time favourite shows. And the first season, in particular, focuses on flashbacks, which is where every episode will focus on a particular character, and it will flash back to a time in their life before they arrived on the island. And it's always quite a teachable moment, and it builds a lot of empathy with them, whether for good or for bad, with what they went through. And so today's topic is origin stories. Can you recall a moment in your life that you look back on and go, or that I was going to say that made you the person that you are today? And there's obviously a lot of things, but to put it in a more blunt way, if you were a character on Lost and they were to do an episode featured on you and something you went through that impacted the way you are now, what would that moment be? Hey, Kill Artist. I am very good, thank you. Just very, very tired. Very, very tired. I'm probably going to go to bed after this, to be honest. Oh, Karina. Then my sister going through cancer, everything almost dwarfs in comparison to that. I definitely remember being at a hospice with my uncle, who was in his, I'm going to say he was in his early 50s, when he passed away of cancer. And I remember having a cigarette with him outside. I didn't smoke often, but I joined him for one. And as we were looking up at the stars, we were talking about life. And I said this would be my last ever cigarette. And I've stuck to that. But I remember those conversations very much. Canuck says it's pretty sad because the Long Beach I spent my childhood is also gone. It's been replaced by large stones to keep erosion at bay. Lumberjack talking about Australia. Nope. So didn't know her before, and she blew me away. Just got the travel bug. That's awesome. That's awesome. What up, GT? Hope you're doing, dude. GT, I always act like I've forgotten his name when I meet him. I'm out in public because I'm so paranoid of saying his actual name. I always pause, and sometimes I say JT. in a panic. It's so funny. I hope you're doing good. GT, have you seen Lost? Have you watched Lost? Dude, Lost, the VR game would be amazing. There was actually a Lost game. I never played it. I don't know if it was any good. But dude, I'd love it if they made a VR Lost game. That would be so awesome. Delta Charlie says, it's never too late for positive change. Join the Navy at 35. I agree. Even the cast on Lost, a lot of them were in their 30s, 40s. Terry O'Quinn, what's his age now? 72. So he was 52. He was 52 when he started on Lost. And that was his big break. You know, been an actor his entire life. Yeah. Can happen at any time. Oh, you're talking about, yeah, dude. Oh. Yeah, I not to go over the story in too much detail because I spoke about it last week. But yeah, I donated blood like 10 years ago and then I never went back. And then I did it 3 months ago. And then I started signing up to do it regularly. And so this was my third donation twice in a row. And they put the needle in. I started feeling tingling at the top of my finger. And they said, sorry, they took it out and then they said, sorry, we missed the vein. And they just discharged me. Didn't really say anything. And then on my way home, I felt quite numb. And so I'm dealing with numbness up this side. It's definitely, I say it's got better, but it's one of those things of like, maybe I'm just getting used to it. But yeah. What webcam are you using? I am not using a webcam. I am using a Sony. Do you know what? I'm just going to look at my Amazon order list to tell you exactly the camera. Because it's regarded as a vlogging camera. It is right. I got them here. This music I got made is so chill. Right. So this is the camera I've got. It's called the Sony Alpha ZV E10. So that's just the camera. And it's known as it, and I have to keep the battery pack open though at all times because it overheats otherwise. The way I run it as a webcam. So yeah, that's it. There you go, vlog camera. But then the lens I got was this, which is the Sigma 402 965 16mm f1.4 DC. Contemporary Sony E-lens. Obviously I'm only reading that, I wouldn't remember it, but this has autofocus, which is why when I am like, you know, wanting to show stuff like this, I just hold it up and it just goes into shot. It looks really good, doesn't it? It's so good. And it's even good for like really small focus points, although it's focusing on my face. If I cover my face, then it does it. Can go really up close. But anyway, yeah, that's the camera. Oh, chaos. Naughty. Just read that. Actually, let's put it on chat. He says, if your arm is still numb, you'll be able to perform the stranger more efficiently. I like he just says, he doesn't just say you're going to be able to perform the stranger. He says you're going to be able to perform it more efficiently. And if you don't know what that is, you're innocent, and I like you. Galaneo says, in my life, looking back at my choices, I used to beat myself up. Then I realised I made all the wrong decisions to get me to the right place. Changed my perspective. Good or bad, they made me who I am. That's wonderful. I like that. Obviously, I don't like the fact you beat yourself up, but I like the fact that you've realised they've paved way of opportunities that you've been able to work on. So, yeah, much love. Nick says, oh, listen to the slow jams. Howdy, folks. Yeah, this was stuff I got made on Suno last week ahead of the show. AI music. I was like, I need some stuff chill in the background. Oh, Jordan, much love, dude. Seeing my grandfather going through dementia is something that really changed me. Dementia is just one of the most... I always thought cancer was like the worst. And look, none of these are nice. But dementia is just... I mean, I say this as someone who's lost 2 relatives to dementia. Dementia is like death before death. Like, you lose the person before they lose the body. And it's such a horrible thing to see them not remember their own kids. It's tough. It's tough. Wow, some of these stories. Honestly, much love for people who've been able to share these. These are... wow. Kill Artist says, for me, I guess it was when my brother died in a house fire when I was 12 and he was 16. It definitely changed my path from that point on. I can't even begin to imagine. I had no idea. I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh, man. I mean, it makes me reflect on... funnily enough, so Lost was out, I mentioned, when I was at a ski resort working in France when I was 18, 19. Lost was out and people were exchanging these box sets and talking about it. And I wasn't engaging in it fully. Didn't watch them. But, yeah. It was when I was out in France, I used to go to a cafe that did internet, and I used to spend all my money on internet access to check MySpace every day and stuff like that. It was like my tether back to civilization, it felt like. And I remember I got a MySpace DM from someone, a mutual friend, who told me that a close friend of mine, I was 18 at the time, she was 16. She, I even remember reading the message in the order it came. So it basically said how she was taking her presents to her uncle, and while en route, the car got hit and it rolled into a tree. I remember the line and how it hit me. They basically said she was airlifted to hospital, but they couldn't save her. And then I remember logging off at the internet cafe, just leaving, walking to the hotel I worked at, going to the first floor, walking all the way to my room, lying on my bed, and then just like bursting out. And yeah, that was definitely something that shaped me. It made me think about the bigger picture and the fact that life has no guarantees, right? Yeah. It tends to be adversity are big parts of origin stories, and adversity is definitely a big part in Lost. A lot of these flashbacks are around adversity. I'm trying to think if there's anything other than adversity. I think they are all involving adversity. Yeah. Callie says, my aunt had multiple sclerosis. From the 70s onward, she became progressively paralysed and she died 21 years ago. She was a good listener. I told her about being trans before my parents. Dominic says, light-hearted origin story. And we want a good mix here. When I first smoked some herb and listened to Goldie, timeless. Oh, I tell you what, when I smoked weed and I listened to Scenes of a Memory by Dream Theater, I was lying on the floor in the living room, and my goodness, blew my mind. It was like incredible. Kill Artist, go right to the beginning. It's on Disney Plus. I started watching season 1 again on Friday. I'm literally 10 minutes away from the end of season 1. I'm going to watch the rest of it before I sleep after this call. That's nice, Callie. She was admirable in many ways. She did a lot with her mind when the physicality of her body failed her. The impact they had shaped who I've been able to become today. The ups and the downs all matter. Karina says, I'm standing up to some serious injustice right now. Can't tell you how much stress this is giving me. Hope it's a good story one day. Yeah, much love to you, Karina. And it's one of those things of like, I never want it to sound like a cop-out or like, oh, it's easy for you to say on the outside. But I find like coming out of relationships or leaving a job that you loved, a part of you is like, oh my God, how am I ever going to cope? Like, but the reality is you will hit a new reality. And there will be a point where you look back and go, those things led to where I am right now. So hang in there. Stay strong, because you're strong. And yeah, as Callie says, full power to you. Full power to you. Now she says, after some college employee thought I couldn't succeed, I decided to change colleges and ace everything. I had all the best unis using the interview to convince me to join them. That is awesome. And I love it. All these stories you're telling, I don't know about the rest of you, but it fires up other origin stories in my mind. So you reminded me that when I was at secondary school, when you're 16 in the UK, you do GCSEs. So you do GCSEs and then you use that to then pick your A levels, which you do when you're 17 and 18, which then get you into university. So when I would have been 15, trying to decide what GCSEs I was going to take, music was one of the subjects I studied. And my parents at parents' evening were told that Myles has a huge passion for music, but he doesn't have what it takes. And that was before I took up the drums and stuff like that. And it was interesting. I didn't carry on with music, but yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting. I think about moments like that. See, I'm so far behind. I keep telling you that the list of the comments, it looks like I'm near the bottom, but it turns out I'm not. So yeah. The music that you're listening to in the background, yeah, is by that Suno app that I used. Yeah. So much love in the chat. Sorry, people, I'm catching up. Lots of love flowing in all directions. This is amazing. Karina says, well, a good story out of my tough story of growing up on my own. Maybe getting a first-class degree. Being first in my year made me feel for a while it was all worth it. That is a positive. That's getting a first in a degree. First degree is incredible. That is tough. Really tough. Chris says, I really don't get why people like Lost. I mean, I can tell you why I like it. I like it because it's about people. I like it that it's metaphysical. It's very symbolic, and it has a lot of interesting ideas, science versus faith, and I just think the characters in it are very well grounded and interesting, and it shows you that things aren't black and white, and I love that there's a lot of empathy building it. Mojo says, I think one of my origin points was after about 4 years of horrible bullying. I found people that I could be myself with and finally start to climb out of a really dark, heavy and horrible place mentally. Super glad to hear that. I can relate to being bullied. Again, another origin story came to mind as you said that. I was in primary school, elementary school, and there was a kid, I remember it, I know his full name, and I don't want to say it because like he's an adult now, things change. And him and some others were always picking on me. And it was like something from a movie. We were in the cloakroom, and as we were there, he said, Oi, Myles, meet me in the playground. And I did. And then he just started striking me with his bag. He just started punching me and stuff. I don't know why. And then I basically grabbed his bag and then I started swinging it around and around. Like, I was just like swinging the bag, and then I clocked one of his mates, and I cut his mouth, I think. So obviously I was the one that the parents hated, and then we were sent to the principals, and it was that whole thing of like, what do you say? Like, they don't really believe you. They just say cut it out. That was wild. Kill Artist says, I am off tomorrow, so I might binge watch the first season of Lost tonight. I can't wait to hear, Kill Artist, what you think. Ali Imbra says, I was 20. Girlfriend dumped me. Car got stolen. Mum drove me to work. Never came in. I just walked for hours. Ended up in a mall. Watched the first Lord of the Rings on release day. Never forget Gandalf's line. Chris says, it's a meandering, plotless, badly planned out show that pseudo-intellectuals think is deep. Well, I'm a pseudo-intellectual. What can I say? That's a shame. Just scrolling. Right, I'm down at the bottom of the chat. And we are at the top of the hour, people. Wow. Well, this is interesting. This is a great example of a show where I start off going, was this an idea I was watching? It was like 20 past the hour. I was like, we've got 40 minutes. Are we going to be able to have much of a conversation with this? And it did take off. So I want to say a massive thank you to everyone for sharing it. And this is going to kind of relate to what we've been talking about already. So let's talk about it, people. Vitamin G. We always end the show talking about what you're grateful for. Vitamin G. You don't have to talk about it in the chat like anything. You can just think about it. And just the act of thinking about something you are grateful for. It could be a person, could be a place, could be an experience, could be a thing. You know. You're welcome to share it in the chat. Although I feel like a lot of people have been... The whole act of talking about origin stories, there's been a lot of gratitude that's been put in there. So, yeah, I would say that I've been grateful for my life experiences, the good and the bad. Obviously, the bad, you're like, I'd rather it didn't happen, especially if it came at the expense of others. But I'm glad I'm able to, take solace, if that's the right word, build from it. That's always super, super important. I'm grateful for a show like Lost. Chris says, Vitamin G, my friend Charlie. There we go. Vitamin G to Charlie. Canuck says, being able to take advantage of several home care programs for my dad. Nice nurses came in to take care of him. That's so, so good to hear. Dominic says, Vitamin G, grateful for a later start tomorrow. That sounds good. Delta says, positive vibes to everyone going through or being through tough times. Things always get better. What's that thing? It's all right in the end, and if it's not all right, then it's not the end. I've probably butchered that. Callie says, the counsellor I'm seeing. Tomorrow's the 6th and final session, but it has been helpful offloading some of my recent stress. Son's job, as the French would say. Much love for you. Kira says, done with therapy after 2.5 years, and I feel really good about it, especially because I have such a big and comfy internet communities now. That's awesome. Siago says, grateful for muscle memory. Hell yeah. Picked up the guitar for the first time in a month or so. That's ages for me. Had to do some exercises, but didn't take long to get back to where I was. Killer, it says, I'm grateful for getting to see my son this weekend. First time I've seen or talked to him in over 6 months due to him shutting down with depression. So I'm hoping this is his way back out of it. Honestly, that is much love and hope for that, Kill Artist. Well, listen, everyone, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in today. I talk about this quite a lot, but my energy levels have been through the floor lately, and I've really struggled today. So I'm glad I made it through. I'm glad we had a really cool discussion. And yeah, I would say to you, if you've never seen Lost, if you have Disney Plus, just watch the pilot episode. I think it's a 2-parter. Just watch the first 2 episodes and see how you get on. Because it'll become very obvious if it's something you want to stick with, because you'll be like, okay, I just need to watch one more. Mojo says, I'm grateful to be alive today. What I said before, I came so close to ending it so many times, but somehow I managed to pull myself out of the darkness thanks to family and friends. And we're so lucky to have you with us, Mojo. So all the love to you there. Karina says, my vitamin G goes out to a few people who cheered me up on through action I'm taking against the said injustice. You really find out who your friends are in moments like this. You very, very well do. Yep. The chilled AI music helps. Well, let's go from AI music to proper music. I want to say a massive thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I want you to take good care of yourselves. And next week is Q&A. And don't forget, if you're watching live next week, because it's the last Wednesday of the month, it means we hang out afterwards in Discord and play games afterwards, which was really fun last time, and we'll be doing it again. So, yeah, that's all from me. Love, respect, empathy, and adios. Till next time. Bye-bye.
On the road, I was chasing sunsets all alone. The darkness faded, painting goodbye, big sky. Far away, but dreaming of your ocean eyes. Chasing sunsets all alone. The darkness faded, painting goodbye, big sky. Far away, but dreaming of your ocean eyes.
By the way, something else I was very grateful for was Eric Masher, who I work with. He invited me on his show. It was like 1 a.m. I was doing it, and it was cool. Here it is. So yeah, if you want to check it out, go send some love. Actually, go send some love. Leave a nice comment. Yeah, it was a really good conversation. It's all things PlayStation VR and VR. Talking about VR as a medium altogether. But yeah, I've just put the link in the chat if anyone wants to save it till later. I know what it's like, people wanting stuff to listen to while they're traveling somewhere. But yeah, I was very grateful for Eric having me on, and I'm definitely going to have him on the show here sometime as well. So yeah, and also congrats on completing it in 1,052 moves. Myles is becoming an L. I'm really not. I'm really struggling. But anyway, much love to you all. Seriously, so much love and positivity in the chat. Really appreciate people taking the moment to open up about things that I found as we went on the conversation, people started unlocking things that they realised were big turning points in their life. And I think it's important that we share them because other people will be there realising they're not alone. So, yeah. Much love to you all. And I will see you next time. Bedtime for me. Bedtime. Not really. I've got to do a little bit more work and then I'm going to go to sleep. Good night.